hit a civilian evacuation point outside of Kyiv, reportedly killing 8 people, including 2 children.
But Russia has offered another brief ceasefire to Ukrainian cities today on their terms. CitrusTV's Jake Morel is in studio with more. Jake?
Thanks, Mariah. Russian officials announced a ceasefire earlier this morning that applies to 4 Ukrainian cities. Kyiv, the capital, which has been hanging on by a thread since day 3 of the invasion. Kharkiv, which has taken some of the most heavy shelling of the war. Sumy, which is the closest city to the Russian border. And Mariupol, which is almost fully blockaded by Russian forces. However, this ceasefire is not necessarily good news for Ukraine. In fact, several Ukrainian and Western officials have criticized this ceasefire. The ceasefire is supposed to create humanitarian corridors, which are clear paths for civilians to escape the cities that are being attacked. This ceasefire does create these, but the only clear paths out of these cities lead into Russia and Belarus, who are both currently invading Ukraine. This is not the first time Russia has commenced a ceasefire. They used 2 of them over the past 4 days, but Ukrainian officials claimed they didn't last long enough to have any positive effect. Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister Irina Vereshchuk spoke on this at a press briefing last night.
We organized a humanitarian convoy to arrive from Zaporizhia to Mariupol, 8 trucks with food and medicine, and 30 buses to help transport women, children, and the elderly from Mariupol on the way back. All of this did not happen. The Russians were again cynically shelling the route that our humanitarian convoy was about to take. Whatever it is, I must state that today we were unable to reopen the humanitarian corridor due to shelling by the Russians.
Vereshchuk also called upon the rest of the world for help, especially countries that have citizens trapped in Ukraine.
I appeal to the leaders of the free world, to leaders who believe that their countries are strong, organized, and work to stop Putin together. Only we can stop it, but together. As soon as we understand this, the war will stop.
Reports out of Ukrainian cities say that the Russian military is cutting off and destroying key infrastructure, leaving some civilians and soldiers without heat, food, and water. The cities of Mariupol and Vinnytsia took major shelling aimed at infrastructure over the weekend, including the destruction of the Vinnytsia airport. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke on this yesterday, begging other world leaders for the closure of Russian airspace or more weapons to defend themselves.
Russian combat aircraft for all these terrorists. Make a humanitarian air zone without rockets, without air bombs. We are people, and it is your humanitarian duty to protect us.
Today, the 2 countries agreed to a diplomatic meeting for the 3rd time. Ahead of this, the Kremlin released a list of countries that have been, quote, unfriendly to Russia. This list includes the U.S., the UK, several EU countries, Ukraine, Japan, the small country of San Marino, and many more. Russian President Vladimir Putin continues to stay aggressive in diplomacy and in war, while Ukrainians struggle against one of the world's most powerful countries. John, Mariah, back to you guys.